look, you speak to any wicketkeeper in the world, they're playing with broken fingers now. So, look, I'm not complaining at all.
Ex-Wallabies coach Eddie Jones is tipping Australia's Golden Rugby World Cup run will come to an end in the final against New Zealand. He says the All Blacks semi-final win over South Africa shows they're the team to beat. And Adelaide United will name its new CEO in a media conference this afternoon. And that's the FiveAA Sport.
Now checking FiveAA forecast.
Open more doors with Harcourt Shepherd Property, the largest Harcourt group in SA. Just Google Shepherd Property.
Partly cloudy and 28 today. Tomorrow, partly cloudy 31. Friday, partly cloudy 29. And much the same over the weekend with tops of 29 and 25. Currently 15 degrees. More news as it happens on FiveAA.
Power your next adventure in a Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo from 46k drive away. Don't hold back. Visit your local Jeep dealer today. This is FiveAA Breakfast.
Coming up to 23 minutes to 7 after 8:30 today, the Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull will join us in the studio. And Dave, we've been inviting listeners to send in their questions.
Yeah.
Interesting one from Patrick on 1999 1395, who asks, please invite Malcolm to offer a one-word answer to the following. Who would you rather face as leader of the opposition at the next election, Shorten or Plibersek? It has to be Bill Shorten at this point in time, doesn't it?
Geez, I reckon Malcolm Turnbull would move heaven and earth to keep Bill Shorten in the job the way he's going in the polls at the moment.
It's quite remarkable.
17% approval rating.
17%.
What was it when John Howard had that shocking front page on the Bulletin when he was opposition leader in the 80s? I think he was on 13%.
Yeah.
And the headline was, why does this man bother? How do these people keep getting out of bed in the mornings copping that sort of abuse? It's shocking, isn't it?
It's not. Well, but that question and others we'll put to Malcolm Turnbull after 8:30 today. However, right now, we just heard it in our news as well, Marcus Wilson talking about the Rugby World Cup, impending grudge match between Australia and New Zealand, and what better time to cross over to our good friend, the editor of the Evening Report at livenews.co.nz, Selwyn Manning. Good morning to you, Selwyn.
Yeah, good morning, Will.
It's quite a rivalry, Selwyn. We're still mates, but all that might be set aside this Sunday.
Yeah, we'll put all of those friendly smiles and gestures out in the side of the thing. But yeah, the rivalry is really kicking off over here. You know, the New Zealand Herald is getting stuck in. It's really starting to focus on what the tabloids are writing on your side of the Tasman. The Daily Mail, for example, it's been out there and it's put this thing on Richie McCaw, the New Zealand captain, and they're referring to him as the Richety Grub. And it says that Thugby's greatest champion is the line there, and they're also saying he's been bugging Australia for years. So the New Zealand Herald's going big on this. It's even trying to dig up some dirt on the latest one on this morning's edition of it, but it looks like it's a bit of a long stretch there. So we'll see how that part goes. But generally, you know, why I refer to the New Zealand Herald, it's got a huge stable of rugby specialists at the moment. It's built up itself, you know, in a sense, to time it to the World Cup. And it's some really excellent coverage there. And what it's been doing has been ranking the players, and it ranks them like in the top 10, if you like. I'll just run quickly through those. Those are number one, they're placing Richie McCaw, the All Blacks captain and flanker there. Dan Carter in number 2, he's the All Blacks first 5, real, you know, solid kicker, world-class player there, of course. Number 3, they've got David Pocock. Now, that's obviously your Wallabies number 8. The punters over this side of the ditch, I thought your listeners might like to know, they're kind of saying that this guy is unstoppable, even though they're saying that he looks like a panda at the moment. He's got 2 black eyes, a swollen nose, his fingers are all taped up.
Well, he was amazing last week in the game against Argentina. He almost single-handedly determined the result there, so I can see why you guys are talking him up.
Yeah, number 3, they're placing him, you know, in that sense. And, of course, you know, it's New Zealand newspaper, so, of course, the top 2 would go to our side. But Pocock, they're saying, is going to be extremely dangerous in that breakdown area. And also, you know, where the ball goes down and both sides are trying to actually get control of that ball. And the forwards obviously get in there and get stuck and try to actually turn the ball over. Now, Pocock, there's no one better than that. He'll be really trying to actually outclass Richie McCaw in that same game there. So that's something that the watchers, your audience, if they're watching the game, should really watch that battle between Pocock and Richie McCaw when that ball breaks down in possessions after. They're saying that even though, you know, Pocock is obviously showing signs of having gone through the pool of death, you know, and he's such a crucial player. They're saying, like I said just then, he's unstoppable. But at number 4, they're ranking Nigel Owens. Now, Nigel Owens is the referee from Wales, and they're saying he's the best in the game, so he's ranked at number 4 in this game. Number 5, Wallabies, first 5, Bernard Foley. They're saying here, solid kicker, a real revelation that's seriously concerning the All Blacks camp. If Pocock, for example, starts getting, All Black ball, turns it over and gets it out to the Wallabies, your guy's kicking in there. There's also, at number 6, Scott Zeo, Wallabies prop. Powerhouse, they're saying, and why they're really focusing in on him is to see whether or not the All Blacks can take on the Wallabies really 1-for-1 in that line-out, in the rugby game there. Now, the All Blacks dominated the line-outs against South Africa, but the Wallabies are pretty slick at that, so they've placed Scott Seau at number 6, Ben Smith at number 7. He's an All Black fullback. Now, for you guys with your Aussie rules, this guy is he has a style of play like that, way back he's in the fullback position, and he is great under the high ball, and certainly the kick and chase phase of the game, he's an expert at it. Number 8, Ma Nonu and Sonny Bill Williams. Now, these two players both play in the second 5'8". They're both world-class players, and Nonu will come on in the first half. He'll do some real damage there in that centre game, getting it out to the backs, but certainly Sonny Bill Williams will come in and inject some class and speed in that second half, and that can be a game changer, so watch out for that. Number 9, Matt Gizzo, Wallabies second 5, of course, he's huge respect over this side of the ditch. And then there's old Mr. Barrett. Now, he's the All Blacks utility, and Barrett is certainly a try scorer. So that's the top 10 that they're saying over this side at the moment.
Is there any point asking you for a tip, Selwyn, or is that just, asking you the colour of the sky this morning?
It's a hard one, isn't it? I think, that both teams are actually trying to assume an underdog status, but clearly the favourites up in England at the moment are the All Blacks. But the best thing for me in this whole game is, that Australia and New Zealand, the All Blacks and the Wallabies are actually going head-to-head in this final. The Southern Hemisphere teams, South Africa and Argentina included, they were the ones in the semi-finals, pushed all the Northern Hemisphere teams out. They may have invented the game up in England, but they certainly can't play it to this level, so it's great that our two countries are there. The other thing is just think about this. I'm really rambling here, but there's been 3 significant World Cups this year. There's the cricket, there's the netball, and now there's the rugby. And Australia and New Zealand have been in all finals.
Yeah.
So this side of the ditch, we're kind of saying it's our turn to shine.
Do you reckon, Selwyn, it's fair to say that this means a hell of a lot more to you guys than it does to us? Because here in Australia, particularly in South Australia, where we're an AFL-dominated state, a lot of people are jumping on the bandwagon, but they're not traditional union fans. Whereas for you guys, this really is the national sport, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's all, there used to be a saying here in New Zealand, it was rugby, racing and beer, and that was the religion, the rugby kind of maintains that, but certainly, it might not be on the East Coast states in Australia, obviously, league is huge, but the Wallaby team is not seen as a second-rate kind of national team. One of the things that stands out here to all people who follow rugby is the strength of the sub benches on both teams. The Australians and the Wallabies and the New Zealand All Blacks, their sub bench players are as good as, in many cases, as those that actually hit the field at the beginning of the game, and they're certainly better than most of the teams that have played in this World Cup. So
by the time we speak next, mate, either you guys or us will be the World Cup champions. So it will probably be a frostier conversation when we talk next week. But all the very best to the All Blacks.
Either way,
this Sunday.
Let the best team win, and I think the All Blacks might just do it for us over the side. So we'll see how we go.
Selwyn Manning. Selwyn Manning, the editor of the Evening Report, livenews.co.nz. I don't know, I'm no master of reading people, Pembo, but I'd suggest Selwyn's a bit